Working now, so here you go. So the very first one was the ability to be inside a ship, right? So it's not just a cockpit, it's an actual fully real, tactile, physicalized ship that has engine room, beds, toilets, mess hall, whatever you would imagine to be in a ship of that particular size. And there we go. And we did that. That was the very beginning thing that we did, the hangar module, which we did back in 13. The next was space combat, which was about, okay, I'm going to get in my ship, I'm going to fly around, I'm going to dogfight, which I'm pretty sure you guys remember is what we did with Arena Commander. The next key technical milestone was the 64-bit floating precision, so moving from 32-bit to 64-bit, so we can have sort of millimeter resolution and going all the way to billions of kilometers, which is what we need for Star Citizen, because we model entire star systems that have to be billions of kilometers across, but we need millimeter visual precision because you're right up there looking at your cockpit in first person, it's only a foot or two away, and 32-bit precision just doesn't cut it, and that's why most games, FPS games, most engines now are on 32-bit, and if you see them, they find it very hard to have play areas bigger than 16 kilometers on a side, right? And they brag about, oh, we got this really big play area, and it's a couple of kilometers across. So that and the physics grids, which allow us to simulate separate physical worlds. When you're flying around a ship, walking around while you're flying in space, or if you're on a planet and it's rotating around a star or spinning on its axis for night and day. So that was a very critical piece of tech. And of course, that was, what is wrong with this thing? Okay, that was SC Alpha 2.0, unless Paul's trying to read my mind over there. Then the next key element to the gameplay we wanted was having the ability to earn money and have a level of persistence, which was, I can go out and I can earn some money, I can buy some things, I log off, I come back on, I've still got those things. And that was, click Paul, there you go. Alpha 2.4, where we had our very first basic persistence. It was only very limited, didn't have persistence of location and a bunch of other stuff. Then the next big milestone that we needed to solve, which, I don't know why we've go back. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'll say go forward, and then you go forward. Just wait for me to say go forward. Was first and third unification of the character. And we've talked about it a lot, but it's, most first-person games cheat, and they have very different animations and models for first person to third person. And then when they have their multiplayer, say, battle mode, they have limited amount of actions that you can see on a third-person player character that's doing, because it's very difficult to sync up the actions. But for us, it's going to be an MMO with thousands of people. He's sitting right next to your friend, and he's interacting with the dashboard just like you are. So you're seeing him do the same thing in third person that you're doing in first person. Also, where our guns actually aim is where the gun is really aiming. It's not sort of cheating at where the mouse cursor is. So we needed to unify it. It was quite a difficult task, but we did it. Let's go forward. And that was really kind of what Star Marine was. We had early parts of it before that. The next big thing was the planet tech. So you can see the planet or the moon, and you can go there, and you can walk around it, you can explore every single inch. So there's no fake loading screens, there's no transition down to it, there's no go down, you can only land on a certain area. And that was the procedural planet tech, which we debuted, go forward, with 3.0. And the other big thing was location persistence, which is the ability that you go to a location, you log out, you come back, you're at that location. You're not starting back at where you started before. And again, that was the first stage, go forward, Paul, with 3.0. And the next big thing, which is where we're at right now, is object container streaming and binding. And this is actually a massive thing. I think we've talked about it. We thought originally when we scheduled it out, it was going to take about 6 months. It's been about 18 months of solid development on it. And as you all know, bind culling has been something that we've had on our roadmap, and it's been pushed back and pushed back, pushed back. And that wasn't necessarily because we wanted to push it back. It was mostly because it turned out both the object container streaming and the bank calling needs object container streaming to really make sense. And object container streaming was incredibly complicated because we had to re-engineer most of the game engine itself, because for object container streaming to work at our scale while we're moving around, we have to be able to stream in the objects and textures and models and all the data and initialize them all completely asynchronously. So the game's running here, meanwhile it's loading up the stuff that will be over here or over here or over here, and we don't know where the player's going to go, and it's complicated because it's multiplayer. So in multiplayer, we have all these different players that have been going in different directions, so we need to be able to have object container streaming that works both on the clients and on the servers, and bank calling that's going to work on the clients and ultimately on the servers. So with 3.3, this is the first use of the object container streaming and the bank calling tech. It makes a massive difference in terms of performance because you're only worrying about having the part of the world that's relevant to your character streamed in, which means you don't have to simulate all the objects in the entire solar system. You don't have to worry about them. They don't take up memory. So it's better for memory, it's better for performance. And as we've said on ATV and I think in our newsletters, we've had some really great results so far. I mean, it has stability issues right now because, again, when something's multi-threaded and asynchronous, there's a lot of unpredictability because when two different threads are stepping on each other, it can have unpredictable results. But it's a massive step forward because the biggest thing for us to be able to scale the game and also have performance is this tech here. So we're really quite excited to get this out because it also now allows us to start building out in the standard system, because before that, as everyone knows, even with 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, the memory use of Star Citizens was way too high for where we want to be, and we just couldn't.
Yes, I like to watch this. This is important information, so I'm watching this. What is he doing?
All right.
No, I think he's offline.
Fit anything more in memory at the same time. So object container streaming allows us to do that, and so that's a massive win for us. So let's move forward, Paul, and that's going to come with 3.3, which we're imminent doing. The next big sort of pillar is the ability to either buy or rent ships, and that's because the game loop is essentially going around earning money. So there's various ways to earn money.
Yes, I have to open my email. I have to see if some YouTuber is online and live stream. I already have my email open. Yes. No message that he is live. There's no sound. Yes, I don't know why. I should not stop the stream. No in-game sound. No. Let's take sound off.
There'll be more ways to earn money as we flesh out the professions. But once we earn the money, we want to spend it on something. So there's only so many.
Yes, I have 28 minutes left on my memory card. So that's 3 hours again. I have
Suits of
record.
armor or guns you can buy, and the core sort of upgrade loop in the game is really the ships. The ships allow you to do bigger and better things, different professions, and so as a player, you want to earn money and then upgrade, and then that ship will allow you to earn more money and upgrade to a bigger, better thing and do different things. And so that was very important for us to get in. It's going to be in 3.3, both the purchasing and renting. Obviously, there's going to be some time where we adjust to try to get the economy to work properly, because we do have a problem that you can buy the equivalent of a Cessna or a nuclear carrier. And there's only like one nation on Earth, the one we're in right now, that can afford to spend $10 billion on a nuclear carrier. But we in our game sort of allow the player to have that huge range. So you've got to figure out how we make that work on an economic basis on the low end and progressing to the high end. So I'm sure it'll take a bit of time to dial it in. But it's a major point for us, so let's move forward. And that shall be in 3.3. So then the next big pillar, and there's 12 pillars that Aaron, Tony, Todd, myself, identified that we felt were really important. And the organization system, so we already have a version of it online, but this is the organization system inside the game. So you can get your org mates together, you can do things like assign out roles or missions, or cost share or revenue share, specify ties for the group, or however you would like to organize it into different pods or modules for communication reasons. And we want to move that in, so build it further out on the website for some of that stuff, and then bring it across into the game, and you have all that. So you and your friends can create your organizations or groups as small or as big as you want. And then we move forward. Full persistence is the next big thing. It's the 11th thing of the pillars we think. So full persistence, we talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the day, but full persistence is the ability for you to go anywhere in the universe and, me drop this remote on the floor. Doesn't work, so I might as well drop it. There you go, right? So, and then I'm gonna walk away, right? I'm gonna walk out here. It's going to stream out. It's gone. And I decide, you know what? I really want my remote again. And then it's going to remember that I dropped it. It's going to stream it back in, even if it was on the surface of a planet. And it'll be there, and I can pick it up in first person. And that's a big step for us to be able to do that. And so the full persistence combined with the object container stream and binding culling are, I think, things that will make the world alive, because it's not just me dropping a remote, it's leaving a ship somewhere, or you got damaged in space with your ship and someone rescued you, you went away and you came back to get your ship and repair it and then take it home. And we're gonna, persistence in your hab, so you'll go there, you can see that you can move and interact with the objects, you can find things on travels in space, take them home, bring them, leave them at your hab, or leave them in your ship. So the physical inventories are going to be very important in the game going forward in terms of being able to store and manage stuff. So the more you play, the more stuff you collect. If you're a hoarder, then you'll probably want to get a bigger room and space. And the other aspect of full persistence is the aspect of age, wear, and tear. So I long time ago talked about Death of a Spaceman. That's very much on our roadmap and plan. And it's the ability for items, as they get used, to get wear. Things age. You as a character will age. And again, that's what full persistence is about. It's getting to this point that as you play the game, players in the game do things and it persists. So this universe is not a theme park that gets reset every day that you come back and visit. This universe is a living, breathing universe that changes as players live in it and interact with it. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things. That's why we call it the persistent universe, is that it has a life and a persistence, and people's actions will mean something in it. And that's a very, very important part of the 11th pillar. And the last one, if we go forward, Paul, is server meshing. So when we get server meshing, that is, we think, the last piece of the puzzle to have the full game experience. And this is our ability to go, right now we have about 50 players on a server. We probably will be able to increase that number because of bind culling and stuff. but it's still going to cap out at a certain level. With server meshing, we'll be able to get to thousands of players playing concurrently in the same locations, star systems. We're not all going to be able to have 1,000 people dogpiling together. They won't be able to render it all at the same time, but you certainly will be able to have 1,000 people on the planet of Hurston, for instance. So the server meshing is the last key piece, because that will allow us to have a truly massively populated universe of players as well as AI, and having servers that dynamically scale up and down to take care of the processing needs of that. And so from our standpoint, in terms of what we would think is the experience when you guys can sit in and play the game day after day and not worry about it getting wiped, not worrying about, oh, I'm going to do something for a day or two and there's no point because they're going to reset the system. When we get to full persistence and server meshing, that's our marker. And sure, after that, we've got planets to do and star systems, and we're going to have continual feature development. But this is an online live game, and so for us, we don't have a particular viewpoint in terms of, oh, that's it. This is where we finish it, and we don't do any more work. It's like literally, we kind of view, as long as you guys want to live in this universe, every 3 months, we're giving you a build, and here you are, and here's a bit more, and here's a bit more, and here's a bit more. And when we get to the full persistence and server meshing, I think at that point, that's when we're not going to be resetting the servers. It's when it will be an ongoing, living, breathing game. And that, I'm not going to give you a date, but but you can watch on our roadmap as we develop it, and just watch for that, because us internally, those are what we view as our sort of cornerstones that we need to get to. And yes, there's a lot of other things that we've talked about that we're also working on, but when we get that, we feel like it will be a game like no other. So that is kind of what we, in terms of road to release. But speaking of near-term release, 3.3, I think we're going to go wide to BTU. So as of today, so when you guys get home, everyone here will get access. I think we're going to open up to subscribers and concierge first, and then as long as things don't blow up too badly, then we're going to go full wide, and then we're going to keep hammering on it, because we want to get 3.3 in everyone's hands as soon as possible, because of object-constrained streaming and bang culling makes a massive difference to the experience and performance. And once we get that stable, and we need a lot of people playing and testing it, because that helps us with chasing down all these sort of edge cases that are very hard to replicate, then we're going to roll in the Hurston and Lorville aspect, which we showed earlier today. And I think it should be a pretty great patch when all that's said and done. And there's a lot of stuff in 3.3. I think we've talked about it, but it's quite a lot of new ships. I mean, I think it's probably one of our, and it's kind of fun. It's the first one we have a straight-to-flyable ship in the Valkyrie, which is cool. I think the Hammerhead's probably the biggest ship that we've got in the game at the moment. And it certainly has probably got the most firepower of a ship in the game. And you got, the Phoenix, which is great to fly around with luxury, and then the cool new Mustangs, and all the Tumbril variants are really cool too. So I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to you guys playing it. So that's that. If we just go forward, one extra thing we're going to do, and I don't think any other company that operates an online game does this, or I'm not aware of someone that does this, but we collect telemetry on, obviously, all the servers and all the clients that are connected to us. And so we get a good idea of what the frame rates are, what the machine specs are, what the latency is, what the load times are. And we've often had debates, because we see a lot of anecdotal, frame rate sucks, and everybody's frame rate sucks. And we're like, well, we're watching the data, and that's not exactly what our data says. So we decided that we wanted to give all you guys the ability to track the telemetry yourselves. So what we have is, you can go into the website. This will release for 3.3, and we will have live telemetry on 3.3 going forward. You'll be able to see your machine, so where you start in the CPU score, where you sit in the GPU. It will tell you what your stats are. And we're going to be tracking, not all this stuff gets tracked right away, but we're planning on tracking the latency and the loading times. You'll see the crashes, and then you can track yourself against the heat map of everybody playing the game and see where you land, and see also kind of what the specs are here. So that's, you know, in the spirit of open development, you guys are going to be seeing what we see in our control dashboards, and you can also sort of see, because you know, PCs are challenging because everybody has a slightly different configuration, and you don't know if someone's Bitcoin mining on the side while trying to play Star Citizen or doing nothing, right? But it's quite interesting, and I have to say that there's we've had a few outliers on this where some people have had like Threadrippers that are just crushing it on 3.3. So it's it'll be pretty interesting, and the new Intel multi-core ones are doing pretty awesome too. So you guys will be able to track yourself against everyone else, and then longer term, not right away, but I think the next stage is we'll open this up so you can sort of see our server performance too. So you'll be able to track how the servers are doing, what the stability is, what their frame rates are. So, you know, when everyone's debating, it sucks or whatever, you can just go to this page and see how it's going. So I think that should be really cool. So one more. Okay, I know you guys were trolling me. So obviously I know there's a few people that care about Squadron 42. Well, it's going really well. I'm really happy with it. And you've seen actually today, if you've been in some of the panels, you've seen some of the tech we've been working on. Like if you went into the character panels, you went to this spacescaping one, even the cloth stuff that was happening. There's a lot of stuff we're developing specifically that goes into Squadron and then goes across into the PU. We're closing it down. All the remaining features were in content. And the last major technical hurdle that we were worried about on Squadron was object container streaming, which, as you know, we're almost ready to close out here on 3.3. So we don't have any major technical hurdles left on Squadron. So for us, you know, it's a bit easier to get Squadron closed out than obviously Star Citizen that needs the server meshing and all the rest of stuff. So
yes, 20 seconds left.
We're going to publish the public roadmap for you guys
of the video.
All the way to
let's watch it.
And I'm just going to leave you with something right now.
Okay, we are not watching this. That's too long.
Roberts.
Okay, keynote. Probably I have to watch that later. Why gamers are upset with Star Citizens. Yes, we got 14 minutes left. Let's skip this. Let's have a look. But what he's still live streaming. Yes, he's back. That did crash.
Let me put it.
What they are loading this.
Oh God. Okay, this is not gonna work.
Wait, if it's not a cargo ship, you cannot do that, I think. Yes. But this is the live stream from the King Konger. Oops. Why Why gamers are upset.
Star Citizen is a dream that many people are
Oh,
waiting
that's
to come true.
old one.
A gigantic
39
vision
May.
that we want to become reality.
Sorry.
Might be blinded by something called attachment. And that is what this video is going to be all about. Greetings, fellow gamers. This is Tone Low.